Alright, today we are viewing Thunderbolts 143, the one after the 40-minute video. This is the closing chapter of both this story and this iteration of the Thunderbolts team. The Bastard Squad will be no more after this. And after the previous issue, you would think that they wouldn't be able to continue on after that without a dip in quality. But this remains brilliant. I haven't talked much about the wider crossover that this is part of, because it takes some of the actual fun out of these Thunderbolts issues. Norman Osborn, he has attempted to conquer Thor's fairyland. At this point in that story, he is on the precipice of defeat. But unbeknownst to the main crossover, there is something off in the corner that could change the course of the battle. Norman Osborn's Bastard Squad, they have, and worse, his most loyal foot soldier has acquired the spear of Anthony Hopkins at great loss to U.S.Agent's body. Over here we have the recap page, and it took until now for them to add Smokey Bear to the team roster. If you went off of these, he was a member for all of one issue, this issue. We start with the big gestures. Barney makes his stand definitively. He doesn't want this spear to fall into Norman Osborn's hands, so he shoots Nuki point blank in the face. This is well-earned payoff. This is incredibly satisfying, especially after the last issue, and it brings Barney's character arc in this title to a fitting resolution. We have seen him rebel against and be conflicted about what he is being forced to do as part of this team. This isn't even the first time he has shot Nuki, but it is here where he is firmly making a choice and saying, fuck this team, fuck Nuki, fuck Norman Osborn. No amount of money makes this worthwhile. I have waited until now to explain Barney. Barney, the Purple Mercenary, was created by Jimothy Shooter and first appeared in Daredevil 150. Most my viewers will recognise him from his appearances in and his alliances with the Avengers, Captain America, and Spider-Man. Following her divorce from Hank Gordon, Wasps began dating Barney. He was a rebound fling. Barney is a hired gun. He will do some pretty sleazy and slimy stuff if he is paid for it. But what always usually happens is, much like we are seeing in this issue, his conscience won't let him do anything colossally wrong. He thinks he is a professional, and that as long as he is getting paid, he doesn't involve himself in the details. or get invested in the case, but almost consistently we see that he does have a heart and that he often draws a line in the sand. We haven't seen much of Casper in this story so far, and we don't really in this either. But we have Casper help Amadeus Cho, the superior Hulk, contact another Avenger, the Flash, one of my favourite Marvel characters. The thing is, we saw this in Mighty Avengers. We see this scene in Mighty Avengers. There are good things and bad things about both of these two versions of the same scenes. Mighty Avengers allows a little bit of further characterization to the Flash and explains why he has so far been ignoring the calls to join the battle. But here, we don't drown out the sequence with the Flash's selfish inner monologues. Actions speak louder than words. Although one thing I wish was maintained was that in the Mighty Avengers issue, Amadeus tells the Flash that Fairyland is being destroyed, that the Vision is offline, and that U.S.Agent is possibly dead. I think those are important things to really motivate the Flash. He should realise that he has made a mistake by not joining them earlier. Personally, I would not bother with reading those 2 issues of Mighty Avengers. We get 3 pages that are tied to this part of the story, the part with the Avengers. We see Amadeus recruit U.S.Agent. We see another page which has him recruit Giant Girl and the Vision. And then at the bottom we have a little bit with the Flash. And then we also have the repeat of this scene, which has a different script. I feel Thunderbolts gives you everything you need to understand and enjoy the story itself. Back on the battlefield, Barney is still unloading his gun into Nuki until Smokey Bear turns on him. What I love about this is that Smokey Bear isn't a psycho. He wasn't one of the monsters on the team, but he remains loyal to them and their boss. It is a subtle, understated bit of character. Remember, 2 issues ago, we had the scene with Smokey Bear joining with Barney and Pervert Ant-Man in daydreaming and sharing fantasies about stealing gold and being rich. He was just one of the guys. But at the end of the day, he didn't have the morals or the conscience, as weak as they are in the other 2. Well, he still didn't have that. And now we have Pervert Ant-Man. Like Barney, he too takes a stand. He shrinks down into Smokey Bear's ear canal and disables him through kicking him in the eardrum. A fun, inventive defeat. I don't like talking about comics after my time, but to cut 1 or 2 of you off at the pass, I know that Smokey Bear brings this up in future Ant-Man comics, the Nickelback Spencer ones. I don't care, really, I don't care. It might be referencing a story I really love, but it is in comics I don't want to read or even think about much. We have one last player in the arena, Mr. Egg, the greatest fighter in the Marvel Universe, supposedly. And he now has in his hands a mystical weapon. And what we have is a couple of pages of Mr. Egg being a formidable challenge with this magic spear. So I will finally explain Mr. Egg. Mr. Egg was a Wolfman enemy created by Franken-Terrier and the great Sam Chang. He first appeared in Wolfman 159. As said, he is meant to be one of the best fighters in all of Marvel. And he was for all of his first appearance, where he beat Wolfman in a fight. Completely and utterly beat him. The reason Mr. Egg is a great fighter is that he has muty powers which allow him to accurately predict and map out any and every attack. So, in the case of Wolfman, he could foresee everything coming and beat him that way. I will say, I half like the original story because Mr. Egg, one of his things, one of the plot ideas is that he wants Wolfman to legally sign over the title of the best there is to him. I like that. I think that is charmingly silly. Mr. Egg has lost every single fight since his first issue though. Always without fail, he will job to whoever he fights. They'll come up with excuses like Wolfman has gone feral, so his attacks are completely random, and stuff like that. But now we have what I consider a brilliant bit of Mr. Egg jobbing. This is justified so much, and it is so great. This is one of my favourite Flash scenes ever. The Flash, he arrives and fights Mr. Egg. The Flash spells out why Mr. Egg will lose this fight. Mr. Egg can indeed see every attack coming from the Flash, but the Flash is too fast for Mr. Egg to be able to do anything about it. He cannot react fast enough. Fucking wonderful. This is... I love the issue before this, U.S.Agent versus Nuki. But this is just as good as that. Jeff Parkman remains the best there is when it comes to comic book combat. The Flash defeats what he calls the least dangerous man alive. And so the Avengers have assembled, and all that's left now is to neatly tidy things up. They properly take down Smokey Bear and Casper across 2 pages. And this is probably the worst part of the story. These 2 pages, just not very spectacular. Some payoff here. Amadeus Cho tells Vision that they should have gone easy on Casper because he did help them. But Vision points out that actually Casper might have helped them, but he has also only very recently tried to murder Iron Man. We also have the Flash collect U.S.Agent's body. We find out that he's still breathing, but badly injured. And so our Avengers, they rush off to take part in a crossover that they do not take part in after this. They leave behind our two surprise heroes, Barney and Pervert Ant-Man, the stars of this run. The two guys who found their inner hero in the face of evil. John Diggle's time writing this team lacked much connection to Thunderbolts. It was a bastard squad being bastards, with some characters acknowledging they were being bastards. When Jeff Parkman took over and wrapped it up, he went deeper with that and returned Thunderbolts to a book about redemption. Even when presented with some inherently and extremely evil, there can still be a hero. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And if there is no good men, well, maybe the least evil ones will do. The two characters part ways here, and I am disappointed to say that they never meet ever again. There is an extra bit of epilogue after this, but I will come to that when I do a video about the story it is providing closure to. Starting next issue, Jeff Parkman truly begins his run. It's a reset, completely different set of characters. The only character carried across is Casper. Although Smokey Bear does make an appearance to further hand it over. I love this story. These are 3 issues that I honestly do think are far better than a lot of people ever gave them credit for being. A completely successful wrap-up to someone else's story and someone else's team. I'll give this one the tried and tested rating of 7 thumbs up.